Hey there and howdy partners for this very special early/late/early whatever episode of Retro Repair Roundup, where we're going to talk about KANSASFEST tonight. Housekeeping really quick. Let's say hello to people in the chat. We've got folks like, we've got Havland and Joel Mick and MacEffects, and hey, Kat's here too. Hi, Kat. Hi.
I'm everywhere.
And Scarlett the Four-Eyed Cuda, who I know his real name. And a whole bunch of other really cool people in the chat. So hello, everybody, and how you doing? Thomas Armstrong is here, and other folks. So remember to lasso that like button and spur that subscribe button if you like our silly little get-together tonight, and we'll do the thing. So thank you very much to our super special guest star tonight, Scott's not I can never pronounce your name.
You were right the first time, and you can just say Cat. That's fine.
Cat.
That's why I have a stage name, because my meat space name is awful.
So we have Super Cat with us tonight,
Yeah.
who is on the KANSASFEST committee and was at KANSASFEST. Of course, we have Javier, who's on the committee and was at KANSASFEST, and then you got the two of us, Ron, and least of everybody, me, who were at.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, I just showed up and had a good time. That was my job at KFEST this year, and I did not disappoint.
Yes, you're unanimous.
I need a better computer so that I can have a cool overlay like the rest of you.
Yeah.
Well, it's just OBS.
I know. If I try to do this through OBS, though, So hi, I'm on a vintage Mac. I'm talking to you live from a 2012 Mac Pro tower.
Oh, wow.
It's a stacked 2012 Mac Pro tower, but it's still a 2012 Mac Pro tower.
This is for MacEffects because he's requesting the hat. So I got my hat on.
It's got hats.
I don't have hat. I have ears.
Cat's ears are perfectly fine.
I have ears. All my other ears are in my bedroom, but I have ears on my head. I have headset ears.
I have ears.
Headset ears. So let's talk about a little bit about KANSASFEST 2023. So cool. I'm going to let Ron run things a little bit. I think he's in a better mental state than I am at the moment, for reasons we will talk about here soon.
Sure.
You switch.
Well, yeah, I love trash. You guys know I love trash.
That's super cool.
Yeah, but no, actually, I had an amazing time this year. I got to see lots of cool things. I got to hang out with lots of cool people, and it was really, really nice to be able to have a week, basically, to spend some time with people that you don't normally see day to day. Kind of enjoy those conversations where it's like, finally, I've got somebody that, other people that really, really enjoy this stuff the way that I enjoy it, so that we can all get together and kind of like refresh and renew and kind of go back to our like regular lives and stuff like that. More excited about the hobby maybe even than you were before the event.
And you did some cool videos.
Oh yeah,
your videos coverage was really well done. I watched some of it when I got home, and I was like, dang.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah. I just figured it would be fun to do some stuff that kind of captures the flavor of the event, so they weren't like highly edited or anything.
No, they were like I've always
there.
Anyone who can do that, because I tried to do that one year, and I just do not have the video touch that people like you have. So
people like you, Ron.
People like you. So it's very kind of you to say, but it's really just sort of like just being there in the moment, but just letting the camera roll, and then just like, okay, we'll just little transitions, and there you go. So I hope that people that saw that were inspired to maybe read up on the event and hopefully sign up for this weekend's virtual event, which just wrapped up. Which was a lot of fun yesterday morning, just getting up and you get your hot cocoa or your coffee and you sit there, and it's like you get to just have like kind of a second KFEST.
Yeah,
a lot of fun. I think that it was a really good idea to kind of split that this year, because we did I say I just, just in that I am an attendee and had a great time. But in because previous years, it was just sort of like everything just went out at once. So it was like during the event, and it would stream kind of during the week. So you had to kind of maybe be available for doing that. And then in the 2020 and 2021, it was strictly virtual. You just tuned in for 2 days, and people either had pre-recorded segments or they presented live via Zoom, and that works really well. But it was kind of nice to be able to have like the in-person event and have that and record those things and then intermix those with live content and stuff that was going on this weekend. So I had a great time sitting on my couch too. So hopefully people saw the videos from the KFEST proper and were inspired to turn around and pay for a pass to come and see the virtual stuff. So I'm sure final numbers will eventually be discussed, and whatever is advantageous will probably be how the event moves forward. So
Yes. Sure.
Yeah,
who knows? But we'll see.
So, what was everybody's funnest experience from KFEST this year? Anybody random? I'm going to randomly pick Javier.
Believe it or not, the Retro Bride.
No, not you.
no, I can't even imagine.
I honestly, I didn't plan to retro ride this year, but everybody's so cool and like, hey, Javier, are you gonna retro ride?
Mhm.
And I say, yeah. Yeah. So-
Ron, I think Ron he either had a short or a little video.
he did a video.
The one where it was like just a rust bucket, and it turned out to be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That apple
Turned out really great at the end.
Ron did awesome because I don't do that. I don't do the big one, the submersion. And he brought all the cool stuff, and it was so cool that he did over there, and we saw it. We saw the transformation. You're right. We did something also for Kate.
Yeah, you did. I was gonna. I don't. Yeah, I see. I would say what I'll try to show it off here in a little bit, but yeah, you did my new toy.
And the cool thing is that somebody asks, and then somebody else joins. Another one like, hey, can I bring myself? Yeah, come on. And then it's like a big thing.
And then I'm out here like,
it was a time that it was
once in a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, Mac Effect. So we were just like a lot of people around doing it. Just sharing the paint and all that to doing it, and helping each other and commenting about it. So it was like a social thing. Also, it was very cool.
I liked the fact that I reached out to, and that's the other thing. That's the thing I like best about this event, and it's not just the person I'm about to compliment here in a second, but I like the fact that
I know you love me, Ron. Thank you.
I did. But it's if you have something to contribute, people don't gatekeep, and it's very much sort of like, hey, if you've got something to bring to the table, let's do that thing or whatever. So I reached out to Javier and I was like, hey, I know that you do Retro Bright stuff every year and all that, but what do you think about if I brought, because I'm just going to drive, what if you think if I brought the submersion stuff? And he's like, oh yeah, bring it, more the merrier kind of thing. And that's very much the attitude of the event. So that's kind of one of the things that I like. I mean, because it's volunteer ran. There's not like people collecting a paycheck off of this. So it's, if you can do things to help the committee make things smoother or easier for other attendees, very welcoming and just sort of like, like, oh yeah, like absolutely. There's a lot of people that come from the Midwest. And so you've got like people that are just overly helpful. And so it's nice that the committee has embraced that to say, well, yeah, sure. No, it would be good if you did that. Thank you.
Actually, at the end, also the last days, there was a bunch of people that all of a sudden they just say, hey, you guys need help?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes.
It was so nice to again have a lot of help, everybody helping each other. So yeah, it's part of the KANSASFEST, tradition. It's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of good vibes.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And I got that same feeling both the first time I came in 2019 and again here in 2023 as a relative newbie. But I also tried to pay that forward as well. I believe it was Thursday night. I was, as you can hear, I still have the con crud. But Thursday night, I was still starting to feel a little crappy. But a gentleman, I don't remember his name, unfortunately, because my brain wasn't working 100%. But he comes over to my dorm room and is like, hey, Joe, you're the Apple III guy. Can you fix my Apple III? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And so I just sat down and tried to help, got it to about 90%. And then I was conveniently across from the tech room where Sark and DJ and Kat and all those, and Stu and all those wonderful people hang out. So we're like, let's go across the hall and talk to Sark real quick. And handed it to him in like 5 minutes. He's like, yeah, it's this thing. And he fixed a socket, replaced a chip. And
Sark is ridiculous.
He helped this guy out, you know?
Yeah.
He had no expectation.
I think I was there watching when you guys came in.
Yeah. And we're just like, we're gonna help this gentleman out and get his Apple III working. And he left, he arrived with a broken Apple III and left with a working one. And that's kind of the part of my favorite part about KFEST is just like, yeah, we have the cool presentations. Yeah, we get to hang out and we get to go do fun things, but we're helping each other keep the community alive by keeping the machines running. So, as the hardware dude, that's kind of that kind of like gets my juices flowing, so to speak.
On that same thing, you know, a few months ago, I was working on a suit. You remember that suit Apple IIc that was all bad and ugly, and the motherboard also was bad, and I couldn't fix it. Guess what? I took it to Sark, and it's like magic. It's like, Sark, can you?
Yeah, and it's not even just Apples. Dude knows, like, I brought my Rock Band guitar of all things.
Because, that's right.
And because the tilt sensor, I can't solder. I tried to solder, and I was very aggressive solderer, and I lifted the pads clean off the tiny little board. Sark's like, yeah, we plugged something in backwards. I figured that out last night. It works perfectly. And he also figured out why the battery thing wasn't working on my 486, which was just I am still learning how to read a multimeter. As I said, this is. So, like, for me, it's the tech leads to a performance opportunity. So, for me to have this once a year opportunity, it's my once a year to go out and get all my stuff fixed.
Right.
So that I can produce, but now I can get all my, so now I can produce content for the next year. That's the stuff I got off the pile, which I'm like, I'm super excited to talk about. When I was scoping the pile, because that was my favorite part, was getting the cool stuff that I got. I'm looking at what can I do on my channel to use this to make new interesting content that people haven't seen before, because it's cool. I'm going to stream Ultima 6 off the 486 on real hardware assuming I ever kill the Lord of Storms. But there's some other, I saw a couple, the two of the pieces I picked up are something that I've been toying with, are a way to take something I've been toying with thinking about doing now that I have space, and expanding it onto the Apple II, because my original thought wasn't even Apple II centric. Can I like actually start talking about swag?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So things that I picked up. Cool things that I picked up off of the pile. Well, the first is.
Drum roll.
So I have people have seen this. This is my baby. This is an Apple II. This is serial number 9919, assuming my camera will focus on it. And somebody had brought on the pile.
Let's make Cat extra big. There we go.
Somebody had on the pile. There was a period correct power supply for it. So I snagged that, and then thanks to Joe, I don't know where you are right now, I have some integer ROMs, so this is going to be a stock too, probably tomorrow, because tomorrow I have to go get a paint marker so I can mark the ROMs that are in there, so that when I pull the Applesoft ROMs, I know which slot they came out of.
Yep.
And then, so, meow. The second I picked up.
Whee!
It's heavy. This is extremely heavy. I got me one of these. This is an apple colored plotter.
Mhm.
Yes.
And it works. As you can see, this is I ran the full test at KANSASFEST. I guess it was down. This thing weighs
Put it down. Don't give yourself a hernia, Kat.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
the thing weighs a metric ton, but it works. I need to figure out if there's a way to get in. There's a couple bits that are a little rusty, but I have work. It came with an entire box of sealed pens. That's still right. The pens that were in it still right, even. So I want.
You can refill the pens with ink.
Yeah, I'm sure you can refill the pens. I haven't even looked that farther. So that was like I saw that. I was like, I have always wanted one of those. When I was a kid, I was like, I want an apple color plotter. And my dad's like, do you even know what that is? And I'm like, no, but it sounds fun. Where did you? It was an A+ or something. So sitting next to said plotter.
While she's grabbing it, I saw that plotter. There were two of them there, and I saw those plotters. I'm like, that'd be neat if I could get to those. By the time I made it to that side of the pile, Kat had gone in, got them, and took them to her room and was gone. Those disappeared.
You gotta, dude. I sat at the bottom of the stairs for a half an hour to secure my loot. You gotta get your game face on. Garage giveaway is serious business. It was because they're like, hey Kate, do you want to introduce this? I'm like, no, I don't want to introduce this because there's stuff in there I want. So sitting next to the plotter was this. And this I posted on Facebook already. This is called the Space Tablet. And I don't think this is going to make I don't have good lighting. It says the Space Tablet, distributed by Penguin Software. I posted this on Facebook the other day, and it is apparently quite a thing. It's a tracing tablet. So, like, if I get the right software and I have to find a stylus for it, I can trace.
Wow.
With it.
That is super
so
awesome.
The plan for this, once I go,
you don't even have to trace. You could, in theory, just draw with it too.
Give me a sec. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah.
So the thing that I've been toying with, doing a little bit of art on stream with,
wow,
is this.
Ooh, that'd be neat.
The things I can do with my spirograph.
What?
The things I can do with my spirograph.
Yeah, so I have this. I also have a Spirograph Plus, but I know if I have this one, but if I hold it up the other way to the camera, it's gonna all the real wheels are gonna come apart. This is like an original. This is my grandmother's house. I played this with when I was over there when I was a kid. And it's got all the pieces, including in the 1960s, they would sell kids toys with actual metal pins in them. Because you actually you give me here's some metal pins and a piece of cardboard to pin everything to.
Hope you survive.
What?
Yeah, hope you survive.
Well, the one from the 80s had a plastic gizmo, and the newest ones I looked, they have something called Spyro Putty, which is just poster putty, which is what I've been actually using because it doesn't poke holes in the paper. But I want to see if I can do the tracing tablet with the wheels and the rings and the racks and stuff on this and start doing like digital spirography.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I saw all that and I was like, I need that, and then I realized there was another. I actually didn't realize there was a second plotter. I got that. You actually, not to make Joe feel more bad, but I came back on a second round and grabbed that.
You're too slow, Joe.
Yeah, Joe, you gotta move faster. And then I got, but I mean that was the big things I got because, like I said, it's all about for me, what kind of content can I make? What's out here? And then like I got discs and I don't know. I have 3 of the 4 2 terabyte SATA drives that I need to do a raid for my house.
That's
because
awesome.
those were just sitting there. I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, that was
cool.
But
I'm going to raid your house and steal the printer, steal the plotter. It's okay. Your Ring doorbell does not see me. I don't exist.
Dude, I don't have a Ring doorbell. I don't want Amazon spying on me.
I'm making the memes. It's fine.
I know. I'm just saying I would never have a Ring doorbell. I don't want Amazon spying on me. But like I said before we went on, I said if I got both of them, intending because some of for parts, and one of them does have and one of them works, one of them kind of works. If you can get the kind of working one working, I don't need two of the damn things. So I figured at least if I have it, I can make sure it gets. Yes, Joe, I see you. I can make sure that it finds a good home.
Good, awesome sauce.
Part of this period of
and that's what it's about. I'm like, when I first went in 2016. I mean, there's a whole thing on Cult of Mac there's a picture of me standing there with this GS in my arm. Javier probably remembers this.
Yeah.
With the
That's
cables.
the same GS you stream from now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's the same GS I stream from. It's with cables and paddles and all that crap wrapped around my neck, because I was running out of arms, so I just started using appendages. Yeah. 3D modeling tab. Yeah, Bill Martin's. That's a 3D. Point out, it's a 3D. Yeah, it's a 3D. So I could actually do 3D stuff. So I don't know if I can do 3D spirography. That would be really wild.
Awesome.
But that's and then every time I go the years I go, I say I'm not going to bring anything home. I bring stuff home. That's how I ended up with the blue and white G3 behind me. It was. Somebody, I think it was 2017. It was still on the pile, and it looked very sad. So it followed me home.
Sounds right.
Yep.
That's what happens.
Who wants to go next? Who has cool toys they want to share about the stuff they got?
Oh, okay. Actually, that's good because I just finished. Give me 1 second. I'm loading up the slides as we.
Oh, see, I should have taken pictures and made slides.
Yeah.
You're smarter than me.
So I just, but I went and I made a video. So I just did some screenshots and stuff. So, okay, hold on 1 second. Let me go ahead and let me get this queued up here so that way I can kind of start this. Oh man, you really put me on the spot.
I just had it all stacked.
Faster.
All right, I've got it. All right. Oh no, you made me full screen. Hold on. I gotta share a window real fast. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm ready now. Okay, so this is some of the stuff. Oh wait, oh gosh. All right, hold on. Let me find the keys on the keyboard. Oh, come on. All right, here we go. All right, I figured out what I got to do. Okay, so. Garage giveaway. There were a few things, and there's some stuff here that I didn't even take photos of because I have somehow forgotten what I've done with them or whatever, or moved some of the items around. So I've forgotten, and there's some stuff that are not in here. But kind of a neat thing, and actually this is about kind of the camaraderie of even Garage giveaway. There was a couple of items from Roger Wagner's collection that were
Sorry.
That's okay. But there were a couple items from Roger Wagner's collection that were video or not really video, but still grabbers for video. So if you were doing you could grab a video still, and they're SCSI based. So they're kind of neat. And I was like, oh yeah, there's two of them. So I, when it started, I just immediately walked back and picked them both up. And Jay met me back there, and Jay was like, "Oh man, you got both of those?" And I said, "No, I didn't. I just got one of them." And I handed him the other one. I was like, I knew there would be a Mac person that wanted these, and I didn't want them to get lost. So yeah, there you go. So that was kind of cool. It ended up not being in my video because I think I took it to my office so I could take a look at it, and have since forgot to put it in the video. But anyway, something kind of neat that I picked up is there was some of these hardback programming books for kids. And I used to love this stuff when I was young because it's they really oversell how cool the programs are, like all the graphics and things like that. And then it's like, oh, here's the code. And if it's like, if it's AppleSoft Basic, do it like this. If it's for your ZX Spectrum or your Commodore, do it like this. But my library did not have any of these. So as a kid, I had to go to Radio Shack and get like the old dog ear copies of Rainbow and stuff, or get them to like make crude photocopies for me out of like the little programming books and stuff that they sold. So, but this was really very nostalgic for me, so I grabbed that. Also, there was a box that just had a bunch of color ribbons for the Image Writer 2. This one here is sealed. There's no point in opening it because they're all dead.
Mhm.
They're all bad. But
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I hope you're not planning on using it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna use it. There's probably something it'll stop from blowing away. But I thought it was neat, so I picked it up. And something else I did while I was there is I kind of thought about our friends in the hobby. And so I picked up a few items. I sent some things to Steve. I sent some things to Frank, like Frodo Jedi. And then I picked up a floppy drive for Trina, just in case, because I know that she just got an Apple II recently. I don't know if she has any drives. I think that Frank is sending her some other stuff, so we'll see. But I think I got rid of all my disc 2s. Everything I have now is like the later style 5 1/4. So if nothing else, it's nice to just have one around. But there was a ton of VHS tapes there, and I went through and pulled some of the kind of the fun looking ones, including this one. Which, if you haven't figured this out by now, if you hadn't had this figured out by spring of '96, it was probably too late to ever figure it out. But something else I really thought that was neat is, and some of the stuff that I have was things that have been passed over. So after the initial rush of people grabbing things, there's a lot of stuff that just sits around that is just like nobody really cares, and it kind of gets picked over. But the thing about the giveaway is you clear off a layer of stuff, and then there's new treasures to find underneath. And then you clear off that layer, and there's new treasures to find underneath. So it's sort of like a tiny version of Computer Reset, because everybody was like, oh no, after the initial stuff there's nothing to get there. No, there was tons of cool stuff. There may not have been any 8-bit machines left, but man, if you like old compacts and IBM stuff and clones and Token Ring and all that, I mean, the old laptops, I mean, it was tons of stuff. So, and it's the same thing for KFEST. There was just all neat stuff each time. But anyway, this was a thing for teachers where there's a CD-ROM inside for Mac that's basically like, it's the Crucible, but it's sort of like in a hypermedia sort of form.
Oh, that's really cool.
I know, and it's kind of like they don't do that anymore.
I know, and I wish they did.
Yeah, so it's like this hypermedia kind of thing that follows the story, and there's screenshots and things like that. And then inside, I didn't get a screenshot of what's inside, but it's in my longer video. But it's the same Penguin Press version of the book that I read in high school. So I was like, wow, this has been around a little while, this little thing. But I got a complete boxed copy of Ractor, which is sort of a comedy kind of game, kind of along like the lines of like Douglas Adams kind of writing and all that. So, but this was cool. This is for the 128 and the 512. So there was like some really old Mac stuff there. And I grabbed as much of it as I could once people were done with the initial push. Sticky Bear. My floppy got bent in half during shipping. But I just thought that this was funny because a couple of months ago, maybe everybody was just like, what the hell? Who the hell is Sticky Bear? And I was like, oh yeah, it's, if you read Sweet Pickles books growing up, you probably know who Sticky Bear and all his friends are. But there just happened to be a copy of the game and the manual and all that. And a really nice, before it got squished, a really nice, sleeve for the floppy disk. That I am a big collector and fan of these Hayden books, especially like the Cool Mac series, which when I was a young person, when like there was not really like any Mac BBS stuff going on in my town, it was kind of a neat thing. You could just go and pick up a copy of this book at like Books A Million or Walden or name a chain that's out of business now, Border or B. Dalton Bookseller. It's
Oh.
all those places, and it was just like it was $19 or something like that, and it would be like, oh, here's a big thick book with like fun stuff inside and a floppy disk, and the floppy would have like, shareware games, or it would have like in this case there was like a bunch of tools for QuickTime and all that. But there's a whole series of these books. I've got like one about HyperCard, and I've got some other ones that are about like jokes, like joke programs for Mac and things. But I had this Bob Levitas book a long time ago, and I've wanted to pick up another copy, and I just never have. And it was in the pile, and I was like, "Wow, that's amazing!" But this is sort of a book about the culture of Apple as a company, and just some of the kind of the ideas that went into the original Macintosh and all that. And down there in the corner, you see like the 1984 video. For whatever reason, there was a time when all these books, they put like flip book stuff in there. So if you sit there and you flip it, it plays a good portion of the 1984 Mac announcement video in there. There were also like some cool technical manuals and stuff that people just kind of seem to pass over. Like this is the second edition of the Guide to Macintosh Family Hardware. And this, for a long time, if you didn't have this book, you were just flying blind.
Yeah.
Repairs and making peripherals and things like that. So these books are really, really great. They're not big money now. I mean, you can pick them up for $40-$50, but picking them up for free is even better. So some of the neat stuff inside would just be like, oh, here's the pinout for the CSI's the two CI's cache slot. I mean, it's like, how would you get that information if you didn't have access to resources like this? Yeah. So it's, for me, way cool. This is something neat that was just kind of peppered around the garage giveaway. These are like some ROM chips that Dr. Buggy made. That basically you slap it in your 2C, and when you turn it on, it will, instead of saying like Apple 2C, it'll say KFEST 2C. So it's just something kind of neat. That it was like there was a bunch of these kind of laying out on the table for people to grab and have fun with. I was able to pick up some stuff, not necessarily stuff that's like garage giveaway, but this is a soft SP, which adds smart port support for your like 2 Plus, or your 2E. So that way that you can use devices like the floppy EMU or the W drive or something. Chris Torrance from the Assembly Lines podcast had just a few of these things on hand, and so I picked one up because I didn't years ago, and now they're tough to find. So something, if you needed like dual density or single density floppies, you could get them. There was 400 million copies of Hyper Studio there. Yep. So or like some Softest GS and stuff like that, which were like a subscription magazine thing you can get in the mail, and it sent you a disc every month that would have like some 2GS software, some shareware kind of stuff on it. I subscribed to that stuff back in the day because it didn't always have like access to BBSs and things like that. But if you needed discs, it was like a bumper crop. So I grabbed a ton of diskettes while I was there. And this is something kind of neat that was in the pile. Yeah, I know. This is a floppy drive that's made by Applied Engineering. It's the HD Plus. So if you have a Macintosh, like a original SE, a Mac Plus, or a Mac 2 that have 800K ROMs, you can read high density floppies.
And I think it works on the GS too.
It does.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it works
that's very
with the stock controller.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that way that you could have access to high density floppies. You could read PC floppies, things like that. That was the big thing. They wanted to be able to read PC floppies. But the thing that's neat about it is that it's mine now.
Yeah.
And if you plug it into a more modern machine that has high density ROMs, or has the ability to read what they called FDHD or high density disks, it just runs like an Apple SuperDrive. But back in the day, this was like, there's a version of this, it's just called the AE, or the Applied Engineering HD, that was just a regular high density SuperDrive. It was a lot cheaper than Apple SuperDrive. This one that had that added functionality adds to the price, like ever, or added to the price ever so slightly, but it was still even cheaper than Apple's external super drive back in the day.
Yep.
So there's information if you are so inclined to read up on it. There was like a ton of documentation, like just crazy amounts of books. So here's like a resource edit, like a book about resource edit. When it came out like in the Mac 512, like Mac Plus days. So it's just pretty neat. I also found this is kind of like a neat thing. This is a manual. This is the manual for the Mac 128, and it just so happens to have Blanche McCoy's business card stapled to it. She was a part of the evangelist group for Apple for years. And so I have no idea how this ended up in the garage giveaway, but it ended up in my collection at the end of the garage giveaway.
Hell yeah.
And this was something I found like on Friday. So people just, they were like, meh, not interested, just passed it over. But there's kind of the neat thing about those books are like the pictures inside. Like this guy right here, he's probably working on the mother of all comb overs now. But but way back in the day, they had like just the best art or the best photography in those.
Yeah.
So even if you don't care that it was a Mac thing or something, you can still flip through and just appreciate this snapshot in time. There were tons and tons of books and magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't pick up a lot of copies, but I did pick up this special edition of the 2FX book. This copy of Macworld is literally as big as a 2FX. I mean, you could club a whale to death with it. I mean, like, I'm not joking. It's easily an inch and a half thick because they did like a super expose on it, and then of course inside you've got all the regular ads and everything that are kind of from that era. So I like just flipping through and looking at those old ads just and being like, wow, 4 megs of RAM for like $1,200. Nice. But then there were also lots of like electronics catalogs and things like that, so you can go through and just read about like old electronics. I picked up some of those. I thought those would be fun. My friend Javier brought me a big box of Mac parts, specifically PowerBook parts.
Yep.
So there's like some PowerBook 180C parts. There's some bezels or some stuff like that, and I'll turn around and I'll use all that stuff to help other people get their PowerBooks back up and running. While I was there, I also found a copy of MacDraw, complete inbox copy of MacDraw. I guess nobody wanted it because this was like another Friday find. It was just sitting behind some stuff. There was also a copy of MacWrite Mac Paint. That I've always loved this, and there's a reason why. And it should show the picture next when I hit next, but there's like the cover art of this is like so carefully chosen by Apple, and just it's part of the culture of what Apple was at the time. Here's why.
Susan Care.
Yeah, that picture.
It's Susan Cain's shoes. So she absolutely drew that. She drew that photo. She was like, I got to put something on there. Just put my damn shoe on there. So I've always thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But this is kind of neat. This is Switcher. Like before Multifinder came out, this was like an application that you would run that would let you switch between different apps on your Mac 512, which was kind of like a big deal. Like, sort of early multitasking. There was lots of boxed and sealed educational software.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Yeah, Wiggle works. There were like weird adapters and stuff like that I just picked up because I thought, oh, someone will need this. This is a serial interface for a Laserdisc player that has a Macintosh serial or Apple IIgs serial connection on it. So I picked it up thinking it might be the thing that Steve is looking for, because the diskette that came with it talks about HyperCard, using HyperCard to control your Laserdisc player, and I know he was doing something with that, so picked it up. But tons and tons more more manuals and things like that. Beautiful artwork inside those manuals. Apple Link guide with all the phone numbers for Apple Link across the U.S. and in Canada. So you can, it's my intention to go through and dial every one of these numbers. I'm going to war dial Apple Link and see what these numbers are these days. I thought that'd be like a fun video. I also found some previously unarchived video. Like this here is a application from FedEx that basically is like for tracking your packages.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's a Mac application,
Yeah.
and all it does is track your packages. So, but it's currently unarchived, and I'm gonna get around to archiving it. And there's a couple of other things I picked up that were previously unarchived. Javier knows all about this.
Oh,
I know. Found the manual for that drive. There was also like just neat Apple stuff in there, like or Macintosh stuff in there, like this service guide where it's basically like, oh, we need somebody that programs Pascal. You just get the directory. Oh, you get the directory and just make a connection. Lots of boxed software, more unarchived software. There were a lot of stuff that's been like well worn, like these like there was a bunch of those packets that had the introduction to the Apple IIe, and everybody was just throwing them back and throwing them back. They were sealed, they were brand new, never opened, throwing them back. And I was like, well, number one, those floppy sleeves are beautiful. Like they're very like thick and they're just stark white. They're really neat. Like this is like for a shadow box or something. Yeah, it's really cool. But here's the best part, and this is what people forget. They're full of those old stickers. So like the original Apple stickers, like there's 2 big ones and 2 small ones in there. So I went through and I got the floppies I wanted, and I put the rest of the floppies out, and then I collected all the stickers, and then I just went around and was like, hey, do you have any stickers from this era? There you go. Hey, do you have one of these stickers? There you go. So it's just making sure and giving them out to people. But yeah, that like sealed packages of those stickers from 30 years ago. They also had like some weird rare kind of Mac games. Like here's a copy of Millionaire with the original disc, single-sided floppy for like the Mac 512, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
More PowerBook stuff that was given to me by Britt Dodd. He just had a ton of stuff, and then he gave me this really nice Power Mac 3400C. He was like, yeah, it's just sitting around, I ain't got anything to do with it. I was like, well, I'd love it, it'll look great at my house.
Yeah.
And one of the nice things about it is, and this is something I kind of like, is I think that like you get these machines in and they've like etched, like a school has used like an etcher or something to like put serial numbers and the name of the district and stuff in that. As somebody that's spent his whole life working in education, I love that stuff, because now it's just like a really boring asset tag. And this actually had like a very high quality etching of like that information and like backfilled with paint and stuff. So it's this was some institution's machine. There was also a lot of great resources for school, like the Apple Family or the Family Computing workshops, which are basically just like a way to try to sell teachers on creating curriculum for like their classrooms using Macintosh stuff. But all the CDs were there, all the scripts were there on how to sell, like make a presentation and sell it, and how to do like giveaways and all that. So just a really neat resource guide. I do not know if this is archived anywhere, so I picked this up so it didn't end up, just in the trash somewhere. More stuff from Dr. Buggy. He had it's a picture of a EEPROM programmer, but I guess the software is tough to find, and he also had some programming examples and stuff on there. So just a neat little collection of stuff. Also just more box software. And then the last 2 big things that I remember to actually take pictures of is I finally got a working Apple 2GS color RGB monitor.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
In the box.
Yeah, in the box.
Yeah.
With all the styrofoam. And this sat there. Like people took the unboxed ones, because I waited, because I'm like, there's a bunch of 2GSs here, and everybody that takes a 2GS is going to want one of those monitors. But by the end, there were more monitors than those. And this was stuck under the pool table in the middle of the room. And so it sat there until like Friday. And I was like, oh, it's Friday. And if no one has taken it after 2 days, no one's going to take it. So I grabbed it and plugged it in, and it just works. Like they all smell hot. This one doesn't even smell hot. It's great. And then I also got I actually brought a 2C composite monitor, like the little 9-inch job, the little amber screen. And and I got another one of these, and it was not $60. It was free, but it was in the box, so it was really nice. And that's it.
Nice.
Yay.
More about it, you can check out my cool KFEST pickups video on my channel.
Cool.
So thank you, and God bless.
You went
What
ahead.
about you, Javier? What did you pick up that was cool?
All right. I didn't pick up too much, but I got some cool stuff. Look, I got the cover for an Apple IIc Plus, just the top part.
Mhm.
But it's something. Of course, I was showing my screen over there, so I got it over here. Remember my 2C screen that we did a video on?
Mhm.
I have it over here. Oh, look, Joe, you're gonna love this.
Where did you find that?
Oh,
We've been looking for that for years.
Oh yeah, but it's not the technical. It's just the normal
Oh, it's not
manual.
the technical manual. Okay, yeah, we
It's
still
not the
need the
technical.
technical manual.
Yeah,
So
no,
call,
it's not.
Call
Yeah,
out to the community. If you have the Franklin Ace 2000 series technical manual, which has
Technical,
a lot of cool
not useful.
technical information about that machine that we need to reverse engineer a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Give now. Make
Yep,
a car happen.
please.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, got this. I got one of these Video 7 thingies.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about that. I'm not familiar with that thing. What is it?
This is supposed to be an adapter for an Apple IIc to connect it to a monitor. The only thing is that I asked because I never heard about this one. I got the other Video 7 that is like for the Apple IIc and goes in the back to do BGA, I think it is. But this has the DB19, I think it is, or DB15.
Yeah.
So that'll work in like it for on an M100 or whatever.
I suppose I should
I would think
test
so.
it on my M100, yeah, because that's all I know, and it didn't come with a manual or anything, and I didn't find any manuals online.
Is that like
so-
is that original from the time period, or is that
Yeah,
like some new?
it's
product?
original
Yeah,
from
it's
the time
original.
period.
Yeah, that's just an external Video 7 for the Apple IIc. Yeah.
Yep.
Neat.
So got it. So we'll figure it out. And but this is the big piece that I got from KFEST, and I didn't.
Oh
get
no!
the
Now we're talking about
file.
Javier's big piece.
Braggart.
So this is my bragging thing. I got it from Sean,
Mhm.
and this is a Quark QC20 hard drive. This is pretty kind of rare because it does work. If you can read over here,
Switch
for
to the
the Apple
Macintosh
IIe
mode.
2C, and it's SCSI and SmartPort. These two.
Wow.
So
That
it
is-
is
And it's also in insanely great condition.
Yeah, that
yes,
is beautiful.
Brand new.
almost brand new. I need to test it yet, and it's heavy as hell.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, you got to be dying too.
But this is beautiful, and I love it. And it's all Sean's that he had it, and he gave it to me. So
That's cool.
that's the other one. And I got some other things, the Assembly Line's brand new book,
Mhm.
and an Apple IIc technical reference manual. Nothing big.
Ooh, nice.
I see Apple IIc and my
Is
eyes.
that
just-
also hardback? Is that a hardback?
This is a hardback, yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, and it has something inside.
Ooh.
Oh, third quarter report. That's a report from Apple.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
realize it was here. Good. So anyway, yeah, hard. This is a hard edge, and the last one. Well, I got a couple of joysticks that I'm from Kate to repair, and I
I
repaired
was
them
not
already.
playing. I was just figured you'd need them for parts. I wasn't even thinking that. I'm just like, I found them when I was moving, and I know a better place for them than my closet.
It was missing the button, and I 3D printed one. So now it's complete, and of course I had to fix it because of my OCD.
Yes.
So now it's working. So it's going back to Kate.
Yay.
Yeah. And the last one, this kind of rare. I never heard about it. It's software. It's weird. It's called the Mac Plus 2E, and it's an emulator, Apple II emulator for the Macintosh.
That's cool.
Wow.
But the weird thing is that, yes, it comes with floppies for the Mac, but at the end, it comes with an Apple II floppy that's called MacCom, and another floppy for the Mac. And it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be able to connect a cable between the Mac and the Apple II and use this software to transfer files.
Oh, that's cool.
As far as I know, this hasn't been also preserved.
Yeah,
so
you got to archive that.
everything.
Yeah.
I already archived the Apple II ones. I'm going to do the Macintosh this week, and I'm going to scan all the
Awesome.
all the content. So this is kind of like the cool thing that I get.
I like
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, just the drive was my big thing, so I'm very happy about it. Sorry.
Yeah. Cool.
What about you, Yo?
I'm weird. Hi, everybody. No, I got some really cool stuff. It's a little hard for me to show, just because it's literally boxes of stuff. So I didn't really like want or need a lot of stuff from Garage Giveaway. I kind of, I looked around a little bit the day before just to see what was around there, but I wasn't really hunting for anything specific. I'm like, if I see something that's cool that I want, I'm probably just going to grab it if I can get it. And if I can't, whatever. Because as you can see, what is space and where am I going to put it? But Ron very kindly said, hey, Joe, over here in this place is a box of old Apple IIe and Apple IIgs parts and chips and things that might be helpful when you're doing fixing stuff. So I grabbed that, and it's just full of chips. It's just full of surface mount and just tons and tons and tons of just stuff. Right?
Is that the same box that you had where that my shiny came out of?
Yes. And here I was going through this, and Kat, Kat was just talking about her Apple II for, I don't even remember how it came out, Kat, but
we were working on the power supply.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Vince and Sark were working on the PSU. When I got it, it said dead clicks, and Sark was like, "Yeah, we'll fix it."
Yeah. And then I'm like, and then it somehow came up. Sorry, Concred. It came up that you wanted a set of original ROMs or something to like convert it back.
I want it stock just because.
So I have this box. Let's look through this box and see what we get. And in the box, of course, is a full original set of integer ROMs for an Apple II. So I'm like, here, you have. I don't need, you take. And there it is. Yep. And so that makes that an original thing. So that's cool. So there's going to be lots of cool stuff in here too. Yeah, like there's 2GS. Like there's a VGS chip for 2GS.
Wow, those are like
yeah, cool stuff.
Hold on to that.
Yeah,
if we could reverse engineer that.
Yeah, I've got a couple of books that I picked up. I will just kind of hint this one because this will become important very soon.
It's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, it's like here you want to make your Lisa a Mac, a really slow, really expensive Mac, because apparently that's the kind of thing I do with like the Apple III and stuff. You might as well do it, right? But the other thing I saw, and I was thinking of my friends here, I saw this when I was there.
Ooh.
An Image Writer LQ reference, and the person I know who has one of these printers and is like a total like super weeb for these printers is Steve of a Mac 84. I'm like, Steve's gonna want that book, and on top of it, it's hard copy. So it's like I'm gonna get this just for my friend Steve because I know he likes printers because he has an illness of some kind. So we did that. Another thing that I got that I really can't show it because it's in a box in another room and I have no place to stick it here but I can show you what they are because I have my originals here. If I can show it without an address. Yes, no address. So I have some of these Nibble magazines from the mid, like this one's from '88. But basically my art teacher in 9th grade, had a whole bunch of these magazines and brought them into art class to cut up and use for for making collages and stuff, because high school art. But I saw these magazines and I'm like, I'm into old computers. This was right after I had gotten my first Apple IIe, and I'm like, I want these magazines. Teacher, can I just have the stack? And she's like, yeah, I guess you can take that stack. So I've got like 6 of these, and these were really my only interface to the external world as far as Apple II stuff goes when I was, when I got my first Apple II. And lo and behold, at KANSASFEST, like all of the nibbles were there, all of them. But what I did is I went through and I got a specific subset section of a specific time period of Apple II that was awesome, including replacements for all of my originals. Only because, if you can tell, I will get the one I used the most of. I used the heck out of this. It's like there's no covers and it's just a shredded mess because it got used. This got love, right? So I'm like, I now have full perfect replacement for my favorite pieces. So that was cool. And so those are really the only garage giveaway things that I got. Now I did get 3 other really cool things while I was there, and I have to like switch to a side camera to show them to some extent. You may be able to, if I slide over here, you may be able to see one on the floor down there. So our friend Britt Dodd, who is the coolest guy on earth, was like, Joe,
love this so much.
Yeah,
he's like, Joe, you want this thing? I'm like, I'll take this thing.
I love the lime.
This is
I'm
one
so
of the rarest,
of your
iBooks,
lime.
right? And we have a friend who loves these things, Mr. Steve. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and tested. He's actually sending me a power adapter for it so I can use it because it didn't come with the power adapter. And of course, the battery. What is even the battery in this?
It's in there. It's
in there, but it's
yeah. If you ever if you get a line on them, because I have a blue one right over here that I would love to get a battery for. So if you get a line on them, or somebody who can resell them, re-cell, like put new cells in. Oh no, I love my blue one.
Yeah, they're just so pretty. So I'm gonna probably do a video on this guy. Maybe a live stream, I don't know, but just playing around with it, seeing what's on it, screwing around with it. And then this is going to go to my friend Steve, because I don't have a direct market, nor, as you can see, again, over my right shoulder here, where am I going to put it? Anyway.
It's just a wafer thin iBook. It's wafer thin.
Wafer thin.
Wafer thin, yes.
There were 2 other things that a super awesome person in our community decided that he wanted to gift to me that are down here on the floor because they weigh 5 million pounds a piece. That I'm like, well, I'm going to find space to put these because one is really cool and the other is rarish. So I actually have to switch cameras here to show you that. Boop. So yeah, that's a Lisa 2.
Sheesh.
And so John Leake of Retro Mattcast, he's like, Joe, I'm thinning out my herd. I want someone who can appreciate these and or make them work correctly or whatever to have these. Would you like to have these? And he contacted me a couple weeks before KFEST. I'm like, sure, I'll take them off. If you insist. I'm like, how much do you want for them? And he's like, here are 2 machines that you can have. So we got the Lisa 2. From what he tells me, it functions. I only have a keyboard for it. I don't have a mouse, but the Lisa 2s use the Mac 9-pin mouse and is compatible with that, I think, from what I'm told. So at least I can play around with it. I want to do that on a live stream. I want to put it up here on the bench, collapse my bench, and then plug it in and see if it catches fire. I think that would be fun. And then the other thing here, if I can turn the camera and get it kind of situated here.
I'm so freaking jealous. I am so freaking jealous of your Molar Mac.
Yeah, this is
touched
like
it.
dual floppies and like the CD-ROM drive and the whole 9 yards. And it's in really good shape. My white balance is making this guy look a lot cleaner than it is. It is a little bit yellowed. But like this is like the iMac on steroids, basically, if you want to think about it. So super, super awesome. And it also weighs like 15 quadrillion pounds. But that's neat. So I think that would be really neat to do, again, another stream or a video on it where I'm just like, let's have fun with this old thing. So
Take it apart.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
take it apart.
Take it apart and lose the 2 Apple badges on both on the back sides forever. Just lost in the case forever.
If the plastic's anything like iMac plastic, you'll point a screwdriver at it and it'll just go.
Yeah. So that's those were my cool things. Again, thank you to Britt and John for donating those things.
Yeah, Britt is awesome. I have a power book.
And John is just sweetheart.
Speaking, I have a not gotten from KANSASFEST, but I have a Duo dock. Just the laptop piece, but it does need some love, so I might have to.
I got a question also for you guys. Now that you mentioned about books for Steve, what do you think about these for Steve?
Is if it's a hardback, I'm sure he would love it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd love it. Yeah,
there are a lot of those hardbacks that were in that pile. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna send it to Ron because I got something to send to Ron, and if you can send it to
I'll send it on. That's
Steve,
fine. Yeah,
because I don't need it, and he will have 2 books.
There you go. Because I've got more stuff I need to send to Steve, so it's fine. Yeah.
Awesome.
So good. Yeah. So good.
Toys.
Yeah.
So we have cool. Oh, I did get a few other things I forgot to mention. I saw them over my shoulder.
We say there are a lot of cool cards.
Got a mouse card.
Yeah.
Extra mouse card because I think these desperately need to be cloned.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
And this one's in rough shape, so I don't really feel bad about cloning it. There's no custom chips on it. There's one custom PAL, and it's a standard combinatorial PAL, so it should be easy for me to dump that.
Nice.
And create a new version of this using newer, cheaper chips too. So that would be cool. And not making the board like 50 miles long back here with extra stuff. Like this board was designed. I mean, look at it. There's just this stuff back here. This board was designed as an afterthought. It's like, why is that there? It doesn't need to.
I feel like the wire is I have one in my 2E, and I feel like installing it is a pain in the butt. I feel like there's not a lot of slack on it.
Yeah.
When you get
I think too, we could redesign this to have a removable cable to make it easier to do.
Yeah.
Lots of options here. Because I helped Mac Effects do the cloning / reverse engineering of the BitMouse card, which is cool because that takes any old serial mouse that are insanely easy to find. Mm-hmm. But I think it would be cool to have an original option for that, since everybody looks up to me to clone all the Apple II things. A couple other things that I found in the pile that are really cool that I've just never had that I thought might be neat to just have. Parallel interface card. I don't know what printers it works with, but it would be cool to just throw it in Apple II, find out. A graphics tablet interface. Now that's cool.
Oh,
I wanted a graphics tablet for an Apple II forever.
There
was no graphics tablet in the. There's not been one in the pile since I've been going to KFEST, but this showed up in the magical bin of stuff Sean Fahey brought. It's just a massive random card. So that was
graphics tablet. That's another one of my bucket list items.
Yeah.
Because I have a koala pad somewhere, but that thing is so sexy.
You want the big one, yeah.
I want the big one. I want the big one.
I want the big one. Todd Rundgren giant one. Yeah.
But the coolest thing was an Echo Plus sound card.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which of course is like it's Mockingboard like, and which is all neat. But this one actually still has the speech chip in it. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's going to be really cool. I've wanted something like that for a while.
Cool.
Hopefully some of this stuff will help me learn how to reverse engineer some other cool stuff and do some cool projects for the Apple IIc that I want to do that Javier has been drooling over every time I say anything about it. Javier just knows what I'm talking about.
I'm going
to leave that in suspense, but that's going to be a lot of cool stuff that's coming on. So. Anyway, that's what I got. That's what Joe's got.
Yep.
Cool. So there are some other very important things about KANSASFEST this year that we wanted to take a moment to discuss. and specifically give the committee members and
I think
Javier-
I'm going to duck out for this.
Okay.
I'm going to be a
Sure.
chicken. Bark, 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 bark.
Okay.
Also, I have to get up at 7:30 tomorrow morning because my dumb moron self made an appointment for 8 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know what I was thinking. I haven't seen 8 o'clock in the morning in months,
Yes.
so I'm going to duck out here because I need to go crash.
I understand.
No problem.
So
Well, thanks for stopping by, Kat,
Thank you,
and
guys.
being on the stream
Bye.
with us
Thank
tonight.
you.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye. So yeah, as I was saying, there were some things about what happened at KFEST this year that I think I'm going to let Javier kind of take the reins on and discuss, because I think he's in the best position to discuss these things with all of the proper, how can we say, viewpoints and insight as to what was going on. So Javier, take it away.
So this is not, we're gonna try to make it light and not too much. And I'm gonna be speaking for myself, not for the committee. But there was, of course, as everybody heard, an issue with COVID, and the problem is that is not the COVID itself, but what happened around it. There was a lot of rumors, and there was a lot of misinformation. And I wanted to make sure that people understand that normally I don't care about these things, and when we actually had a lot of fun after it, taking it a little more lightly, because we don't want to get crazy about this. But there was some bad things going on later, and I want to address that. So basically what happened is that, yes, I had a sore throat when I arrived at Kansas to help, and I didn't understand. I had sore throat in the past, so I didn't care about that. But the third day after the sore throat, it didn't go away, and my family, my wife told me, hey, why don't you test it? And I tested, and it went positive. So I went completely bunkers, because I've never had COVID in my life. I have my 5 Pfizer vaccines. I'm a very careful people on all these things. So I was really very, very scared. And I called 2 doctors, a doctor and an epidemiologist. And they both calmed me down, and they told me, okay, don't worry. Well, not don't worry, but this is not the deadly COVID from 3 years ago. This is a more tame COVID. And this is, there's a new thing that you got to say, it's not deadly strain, it's rather mild. There's a 5-day period now instead of 11 days that it was before, blah, blah, blah. So they gave me all the information. And based on this, of course, they told me you got to N95 it right away and get away for everybody. So I talked to people, and we agree that the people that I could stay over there, but I have to follow the procedure from the CDC. After that, I went to a doctor on Kansas, on a CVS clinic. She checked everything on me. I was perfect. There was no issues, no COVID issues, breathing, the oxygenation, nothing like that. The only thing I had was actually the sore throat. So yeah, she got me on Paxlovid. I already was at that time 5 days within the thing. So she told me, take 1 more day to stay away, and then you can go out, and with a mask you can talk to people. So that's the truth. That's what happened. There was nothing that I was running around spreading everybody because I wanted to pass to anybody or something like that. So,
and as somebody who was present as KANSASFEST, who is not Javier, I can confirm Javier's presence was limited at the event. And when he was around, he was A, masked, and B, keeping his distance from people, at least until very near the end of his where they were saying he was allowed to be around people more. So
and I tried to follow the rules. Thank you. And I was in the 2nd floor with my own bathroom, so I didn't touch anything. And the times that I went out, because people asked, I saw him outside, is because I had to get food and get water. So because nobody went over there and bring me something, I had to go out and get it by myself. Other than that, it's a lesson learned, basically. we don't want to make a big thing about this. It's something that happens, and we cannot just we wish never happened, but when it happened, thank God it happened this way and it was mild. So that we should think about that way. And of course, we have a lesson learned for next year, for the other years. We're going to implement several things for several issues that may happen in the future. So that's the shortened version of this.
I think that probably the best takeaway on some of this stuff is just to remind people that COVID as a disease the pandemic is over, because it's now endemic. It's like the flu now, in terms of every year there will be new strains and there will be exposure chances, generally just kind of everywhere. So as people consider their personal health and things like that, they probably need to just remember that if you hear stories about, like, oh my gosh, people went to DEF CON this year and people got COVID, or people, it's how many times have we heard about things where it's like, oh, they got the con crud, like, or there's a cruise ship and it was like, oh, everybody ate the shrimp, so there's risk inherent in generally anything you do. You will have to make the best decisions that you feel are for you and for your family and things like that. But more than anything else, the thing that costs you nothing is to be kind to your friends, even your sick friends, even your friends that traveled a great long distance to be somewhere because they wanted to see you. They wanted to be where you were, and maybe picked up a bug along the way. My understanding is that there were several people. I know that you were there because you're part of the committee, that you were there days early, unpaid volunteer, taking more PTO and more time off from your regular life to make sure that everybody who showed up had a great event and had a great time. And then when you found out that you were ill, I know because I reached out and I said, hey, I heard somebody's sick, and you were immediately forthcoming and you said, hey, yeah, it's me. I'm here, and I had a scratchy throat, and I just tested for COVID, and there you go. But then you immediately quarantined, and you didn't take meals sitting an inch away from other people. You did your level best, and I didn't see you out like touching things that other people were going to touch, or being in spaces.
And anybody who knows Javier, he's very, very touchy.
Yeah, it's right. It's like, give me a hug, whatever. It's so I'm sure this was really like a kind of a lonely time. And especially when you're away from your family, like your support network and things like that. So so I understand. But the thing that costs no one a penny, it doesn't cost you anything, it's just to be kind. Just be kind to your friends, your sick friends. Check up on them, find out what they need. I know during the event and things like that, it's really easy to get tied up in whatever it is you're doing. But like there was times during the day where, I mean, we have people that come to this event, have been coming for a good long time, that have mobility issues and things like that. It's people made sure it was like, hey, we're going to check. It's like, have you eaten? When's the last time? Because it's the walk over. A lot of the place where this takes place isn't 100% ADA compliant in a modern sense. So to get to some of these places, they do have, some, there's a golf cart that kind of takes people around and stuff, but you can only put so many people, and only so many people want to ride it, because it's everybody at their core is like, oh, I don't want to be a burden. Oh, I don't want to cause, take away from other people's good time. But, just check your friends, make sure that they're getting what they need. So that way, because I know that I got tied up in things. I brought Sean a meal or two, and brought Neil was tied up doing stuff and you were tied up doing Retrobrite stuff, and so I brought a meal down one day for you. I brought it for you, and Neil was like, or not, or yeah, Vince. Sorry, I brought
Vince
it.
Neil.
I know that's what happens in my brain. It
Yeah.
turns into Vince Neil, but no, Neil Breen. So it was just like, he was like, oh, I'm so hungry too. And Javier was like, well, I haven't touched it yet. So yeah, give it to Vince. And I was like, okay, I tried. So, but yeah, so just do what you can. Take care of your friends. Be kind more than anything. And don't jump to conclusions, because again, what you saw in photos, what you might have saw in videos that I posted, I've got some videos to post yet about KFEST stuff. You're seeing like one little sliver of what happened at the event, and it might be the exact evidence that you're looking for that backs up your preconceived notion about what was happening. But then you weren't there the rest of the time when Javier was sitting in his room watching stuff remotely, things like that. It's I think I saw you until it was like, it's been a week. Literally, it had been a week. That is when you came out, and you were still outside. You were still wearing a mask. You were still keeping your distance from people. There were a few times where it was just like you're in your room, and you had like separate bathroom facilities and things like that too. So it was sort of like, anybody that was ill or anybody that was having some issues had like a place that they could safely get away and respect people's humanity. Because you no offense, you need to be able to use the bathroom. You got to be able to take a shower, things like that. You can't be thinking about, I've got to wear a mask in the shower. I'm just thinking like the bare minimum you can do is just get people their own little things. So I'm glad that stuff worked out. But I feel really, really bad that there's been this negative backlash against folks that were just really doing their best and trying to put on a good time for their friends and stuff. And I'm sorry that people got sick. There were a few of the people that picked it up. Here's the thing, though. Based on the time, you look at the calendar, and a lot of people traveled. A lot of people traveled to get there. A lot of people interacted with dozens of people between their house and the front door of KFEST. Look at your calendars. Figure out exactly when you contracted it, because it's possible you might have picked it up somewhere. You stopped at Denny's.
Yep.
I mean, how many people did you interact with that day that have, or potentially hundreds of people where it's like they were infectious but not showing symptoms? It just happens. That's why
take it like it is.
Be kind to your friends. Just treat them with the respect and the love that you do any other day of the year. That's it. Sorry to soapbox, but yeah.
I don't have anything to add to that. I think Ron's points are perfect.
Sorry.
Hopefully, there's a lot of information we can't discuss that involves people's private health information, things that
I don't want to overshare, but I do want to say something, because Javier flew to the event and he had a ticket that leaves on such and such a day. So if Javier would have said, I've moved my departure up, I'm going to get on a plane, I'm going to go, he would have gone on a plane at his most at like his highest viral load, and at a time when he would be most other people would be most infectious, to spread it to other people. And then he would sit in a big aluminum tube for like 4 hours, and even with in 95 and a cloth mask over the top of that and things like that, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. So you get on that plane, there's elderly people, there's people on that plane that might be immunocompromised, stuff like that. The responsible thing to do is exactly what you did. You sheltered in place. You did your best to stay away from other people. You only went out when it was like, hey, I got to go grab a meal, or I agreed to do this. I agreed to do this event, and this event is taking place outside in like the hottest ass part of the day. I mean, it was literally like 95 degrees when we were out there. And you still wore a mask. the entire time. So
there's plenty of
anybody
UV out there to kill anything that came out of your face anyway.
yeah,
so,
there was
like,
there was nothing being like there was nothing happening out there other than people were like Javier was like directing people to do things and do stuff, and it was like take this thing, go over here, do this project, stuff like that. So it was the alternative was like, you know, get in the tube and potentially infect a bunch of strangers and things like that. So I think you did the absolutely responsible thing. Here's what Joe did. Joe ended up being ill, and Joe was like basically was like texting people. He was sheltering in place in his room and texting and saying, hey, I'm ill. Since I drove, I'm going to go ahead and take off because I've got hotel reservations. I've got places to stay closer to home. I've already done my presentation. I've got all my stuff kind of out of the way. I'd love to see the other stuff, but the responsible thing for me is to leave. And I said, okay. And I put on an N95 mask, and I put a cloth mask over the top of it, and I washed my hands, and I went and I helped Joe load his car, and left a mask on the whole time. Helped afterwards, like reset Joe's furniture and stuff in his room. Carried some stuff that had to, like sheets and stuff like that would needed to go to the return pile. All that type of stuff. Got Joe on the road. I even gave you a hug. And then by
the way, Ron is very, very, very tall.
I am very tall.
I felt very small hugging Ron.
But then I went back inside. I immediately used when I got in through the front door, I immediately used like hand sanitizer, and then I went and washed my hands, and then I took the cloth mask, I got rid of it. I took the N95 mask, I got rid of it. I put on a fresh mask or a fresh N95 and a fresh mask, washed my hands again, and then I went on about my day because that was the very best that I could do. And then you know what I didn't do after that? I didn't touch other people's food. I didn't go that there's a like the memorial, like we do donuts and things like that one evening. I didn't touch any of that. There was a pizza night. I waited to the very, very end before I went and touched anything else. So, and a lot of people did those exact type of things at the event. And guess what? They went home. They did not get sick. They weren't sick on site. They didn't get sick when they went home. There's a few people that did say that they picked things up after they got home. But I mean, I tested every day. I was around Javier, just kind of in social distancing. I was around Joe and but was masked and stuff after he said that he was sick. I was very, very lucky. I tested every day for a week and was not showing. I mean, it's very possible that I got something, but I was not showing enough viral DNA to have a positive test. So, and I had no symptoms, anything like that. I had COVID like last summer. And it really just came down to that there was somebody that was on the film set that I was working on, who had not tested positive the entire time she was there, and she was getting ready to go home. And it was just sort of like the friend hug. That was it. And 24 hours later, so it was like I was on the road myself going home, and then realized, oh gosh, I'm sick. But I mean, it takes longer than 24 hours. So who knows where I picked it up? Yeah. So anyway, crazy. Yeah. I'm, I guess Amy asked how tall I am. I'm like 6'4". So if you have like a refrigerator on top of your refrigerator and need something off the top, just let me know. I'll reach up there and get it. So sorry to monopolize the little conversation, but I just wanted to say that as my two friends who were sick, I was very worried about you. I was worried about you getting home. I was worrying about you being safe. And more than anything else, just, you know, how people would treat you based on what happened. There's this quick thing that people want to judge, and there's a very quick thing where people want to be like, oh my gosh, like, you know, Typhoid Mary of whatever this thing was.
Yep.
But it's like other people were flying into the event and turned around at the airport because they tested positive. They were like, oh, I was kind of on the fence. I kind of felt weird. And then I thought about, or I heard that someone was sick at the event. So I decided to stop and get a COVID test and tested positive. And I just turned around and went home. So there were other vectors coming to this event. It was not just you, Javier. It was not somebody who just happened to pick it up at like a Chick-fil-A somewhere on the road, or something like that. So
Right.
I wouldn't feel bad. I feel bad for how the response and how people treated you, and I don't think you deserve that. And I hope that people that made a lot over on this, I think it's important to realize that people, nobody should be beyond redemption. Nobody should be beyond forgiveness. If somebody comes up and just says, hey, I've got contrition in my heart, like, I screwed up. You've got to practice some radical compassion and just say, you know what, we're all human. It's, hopefully this is just a learning experience, and we can kind of move on and rebuild a new friendship, starting forward. So I hope that those type of opportunities present themselves for you and for the greater community kind of after KFEST and everything. So
yeah. So
that's
be
all.
nice to Javier or Joe Smash.
Yeah.
And I have to admit that at the beginning of all this cluster fracas, I was not as kind to Javier as I could have been. I was being somewhat jovially, but also somewhat seriously kind of grumpy about Javier not even being at the event, right? And as a human being who's learning to human better every day, I learned that I probably mistreated my friend, and I would like to apologize, Javier, for the way you were treated. I also, like Ron was saying, I did not have all of the information that you had about, I don't know, talking to a freaking viral epidemiologist about what to do and following their advice.
Right.
I didn't know that. I just thought you were running around like a goo-gaw, being like and coughing on. I didn't know.
Well, there was a point.
Always isolated. You had Paxlovid before anybody got there, right? And so these are details that a lot of us didn't know. So
there was a point where I came and I saw Javier, and he was like, "Hey, you want the rest of my sucker?" And I was like, "No, I'm just kidding.
He didn't want it, man.
No, he was like, it's one of the ones. It's got bubblegum inside. And I was like, oh, damn it.
That's the thing, we just got to be empathic and also laugh about these things, because, it's not something that, it was serious a few years ago. Now it's not deadly, and we are not going to be just, fighting for these things.
We have to be,
nice.
We have to be smart about it and do what we need to do, but we also can't be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
Right.
It's let's take our precautions and do what we need to do.
Correct.
Based on discussions we've had, I think that what was done at KFEST could have been done better. There are lots of things we can't discuss for many multiples of reasons, but there is a lot of learning information that has been gained from what happened this year. Next year, we'll have things like proper protocols as to, what happens if this happens, but not just COVID. This is a great experience to learn. Okay, so let's be a good convention and say, well, what happens if somebody has a heart attack?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
I don't know, gets norovirus and is puking all over the place, or something like that. We need to have these proper protocols in place, and this is the great wake up call, that we need. I mean, how do we learn from stuff other than making mistakes and then having something to learn from? That's our way our dumb human brains work. So,
yeah. But that's it, guys. Other than that, it was fun and games.
Yeah, I had a really good time, and again, I got to see my friends in person that I don't normally get to see every day. And there's so much that happens year to year. It's like last year, I spent a lot of time. You guys know Dennis. I spent a lot of time talking with Dennis about like Apple IIc Plus stuff, because I was like, I've always, it was like basically give me up to speed on kind of like what you're doing with yours and all that type of stuff. And so it was cool to see him again this year and just kind of catch up and see how like new friends that you make that you might only see once or twice a year. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. I mean, all these little VCF events are starting to pop up like everywhere, but still not everybody makes it to that stuff. But you can always count on certain people being at KFEST. So it was really, really great to be able to do that, see that.
Yep. Agreed. 100%.
Great.
Cool. Well, I think this is a good place to wrap things up for tonight for our little impromptu, very special episode
KFEST
of Retro Repair Roundup. I would like to thank Kat, who was our special guest tonight, for hopping on at the last minute and saying, "Hey, yeah, I want to show the things off that I had." And of course, thank you to you guys for being awesome and being on the show tonight as well. Again, what?
Sorry, I just wanted to say because Trina is absent tonight.
Trina. Like where the heck is she?
Well, she's actually on vacation this week. So
what?
So yeah, she's on vacation. I think she'll be back like tomorrow or the next day. But I wanted to make sure
in the middle of nowhere in a cabin. So it's
just to acknowledge that Trina's off having fun somewhere else. And since the conversation was more of kind of like folks that were there in person at the thing, she's talking about she wants to come next year, and I hope she makes it. Because I've already told her, it's like, if you fly into St. Louis, we'll drive the rest of the way out together. So then I get to spend more time with more of my friends. But she'll be back on the next episode. We'll all get together then. But it's just, since this kind of falls outside the regular schedule, we went ahead and had it.
Yeah.
And it just happened to synchronize with her being out of town. So nothing nefarious, nothing weird going on behind the scenes. Just letting you know.
She's still taking over.
She
still owns everything. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, again, great conversation. I think we all had fun at KFEST, even those of us who had to leave early. Lots of cool talks and stuff as well. Those will be on the KANSASFEST official YouTube page eventually, once they do their editing and all of that stuff to get it all condensed into something usable. So that'll be cool. So thanks to everybody who stopped by tonight to watch our little shindig about the super awesome KANSASFEST. Remember to lasso that like button and spur that subscribe button. Tell people that you liked this awesome thing here that we did tonight, and our cool little get-togethers we have every other Sunday. Next episode will be the upcoming Sunday, which would be the 6th of August. So that will be our next episode. Plans? I don't know. We haven't gotten that far yet. We'll figure that out once that happens.
I think next time it needs to be because we were going to do an episode about like, hey, cool new things you're working on, something like that, and have someone on that was going to like talk about like projects or something. I think why not for next time? Why don't we make it about like how to get started on doing things? Because Javier did a really great presentation about Tinkercad at KFEST. I want to do a little thing about Easy EDA to show people about that, and then maybe Joe, you could talk about some of your projects and things, and Trina can talk about some of her stuff too. Maybe we do something fun like that. That'll be fun.
I think that would be really cool. Sounds like a plan. And if we forget next time when we actually do the episode, everybody can yell in the comments about.
You'd be like, you said that.
So yeah, that will be super duper awesome. Again, thanks everybody for stopping by. Javier, where can people find you, buddy?
I'm Habmaster at bluesky.social, Habmaster at YouTube, 8BTs. That's it.
Cool. Ron.
You can find me at ronscompvids.com. That basically links to everything that I'm up to or I'm kind of working on at any given time. Cool. So it's a good place to see what's up.
Yep. And again, I'm Joe Snyder of Joe's Computer Museum. You can find me on jcm-1.com, on Patreon, YouTube, and a lot of other places. Just search for Joe's Computer Museum, and you're going to find me. So again, thanks for everybody for stopping by. A great stream, and we'll see you all in about 7 days. Night, everybody.
Good night.
Is it gonna do it? Is it gonna? Is it
It'll
gonna
do it.
end?
It'll do it.